Welcome to Craving the Heat, where desire takes the lead and every story leaves you wanting more. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments and keep up with our latest naughty stories. Sophie and Liam had been together for over 3 years, their relationship filled with passion and adventure. However, as time passed, the routine of their life began to dull the fire that once burned brightly between them. While the love was still there, the excitement seemed to fade, replaced by familiarity. Sophie found herself craving something more, something exciting and new. One evening after a quiet dinner, Sophie and Liam were having one of their usual heart-to-heart conversations. Their discussion about their relationship had begun to deepen, and Sophie felt a longing, not just for adventure, but for connection again, the kind that could only be found in the sparks that flew when they first met. "You know," Sophie said, a teasing glint in her eyes, "sometimes I think we could use something ... unexpected." Liam raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Unexpected? What do you mean?" Sophie hesitated for a moment, trying to find the right words. She'd always been a bit more reserved, but something about the mood between them made her feel bold, free. "I think we need a change, a way to bring back the excitement." Liam was silent for a moment, sensing that this wasn't just about a minor change. He leaned forward, his face lighting up with curiosity and something else, a spark of mischief. "Are you saying we need to break the routine? Do something out of the ordinary?" Sophie nodded, her heart racing. "Exactly, but only if you're open to it. Only if we both really want it." Liam smiled, that look of fondness mixed with adventure crossing his features. "You know, I'll follow you anywhere, Sophie. Just tell me what you're thinking." After a long pause, Sophie leaned in close to him, her breath warm against his ear. "What if we stayed in a motel for the weekend? Just the two of us ... No rules, no expectations, just us rediscovering each other." Her voice was soft, full of promise and heat. It was a suggestion, but one that Sophie felt deep in her heart. She wasn't just talking about a weekend away. She was talking about reigniting the spark, something that had been missing for too long. Liam's gaze softened, and he reached out, cupping her face in his hands. "I'm in. Let's make it happen." The motel was a small, tucked-away place, just off the highway. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt perfect. A private escape from the world. They entered the room, the air heavy with anticipation, as if the space itself had been waiting for this moment. As they dropped their bags and the door clicked shut behind them, Sophie felt her heart race in a way she hadn't in months. The air between them seemed to crackle, alive with possibilities. They hadn't planned anything specific, but it felt like a fresh start. No routines, no expectations, just two people rediscovering each other. Sophie moved to the window and pulled back the blinds, letting in the soft light of the evening. She turned back to Liam, who was watching her with a mix of admiration and desire. For a moment, there was silence. Then Sophie smiled. "I think we need to make this night unforgettable, but only if we take turns," she said, her voice light, playful, but full of meaning. Liam's eyes darkened with excitement. "Take turns?" he asked, his voice low. Sophie smiled knowingly. "Yes, only if we explore each other ... without rushing. Slow, steady, discovering all the ways we used to excite each other, and only if we really savor every moment." Liam stepped closer, the energy between them charged. "You really want this, don't you?" Sophie nodded, her heart pounding in anticipation. "I do." And with that, the tension that had been building between them finally erupted. Their kiss was slow and deep, the taste of each other more intoxicating than any drink. Sophie's hands moved to Liam's shirt, tugging it free from his pants. He responded eagerly, his hands exploring the curve of her back, the softness of her skin. The moment felt so right, so full of promise. The night unfolded in an intimate, passionate dance, each of them savoring every moment. They took their time, letting their desires slowly build, reigniting the connection they had once shared. Sophie had never felt more alive, more in tune with Liam than she did in that room. Each touch, Each kiss was a rediscovery of the passion they had lost, but now felt even more intense as the night went on. They truly embraced the idea of taking turns. It wasn't just about physical connection, it was about deepening their bond, focusing not just on each other's bodies, but on each other's souls. They talked, laughed, and shared moments of vulnerability, reclaiming the love they had almost lost by the time the sun began to rise, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange. They lay together in the quiet aftermath, wrapped in each other's arms. There was no rush anymore. The world outside could wait. In that moment, they had found their way back to each other, not just in passion, but in love. "I'm so glad we did this," Sophie whispered, her voice sleepy, but content. Liam kissed her forehead, holding her close. "Me too. I think we've found our spark again." Sophie smiled, her heart swelling with love. She knew this night would always be remembered as the moment they both took the time to truly see each other again, to appreciate what they had and what they could still become. And for the first time in months, she felt truly at peace, knowing that love, true love, was worth every turn they took together. As the morning light crept in, Sophie and Liam lay together, the quiet hum of the motel around them blending with the soft rhythm of their breathing. The night had been everything. They both needed passionate, intimate, and, most importantly, a reminder of what they had once had. But in this new space, they had rediscovered not only each other, but themselves as individuals in a relationship that was evolving. The room was still filled with the remnants of their shared passion, scattered clothes, the scent of their skin, and the soft warmth of the bed. Sophie lay in Liam's arms, her head resting on his chest as she traced lazy circles on his skin, her fingertips grazing the fine hairs on his arm. The air between them felt light and full of promise. There was no rush to get up or break the moment. For the first time in a long time, they were simply together. "Last night felt like a dream," Sophie murmured, lifting her head to look into Liam's eyes. "I didn't know we could have that again." Liam smiled softly, his fingers gently threading through her hair. "I think we just needed to remember that it's not about trying to recreate what we had, but about making something new. Something better." Sophie smiled, a sense of warmth spreading through her chest. She had been afraid for so long that their relationship had run its course, but the fire had burned out. But now, lying there with Liam, she realized something profound. Love wasn't about keeping the flame burning constantly. It was about nurturing it, letting it ebb and flow with time, and knowing that no matter what, it could always be rekindled. It was about understanding each other's needs, desires, and emotional connections. "Do you want to get out of here?" Liam asked, breaking her thoughts. His voice was teasing, but she could tell that he was in no hurry to rush out of this moment. "Either." Sophie laughed, her heart still light from their shared night. "I'm in no rush. But I guess it's a good thing we've got this whole day together. No interruptions, just us." They spent the morning wrapped in conversation, talking about everything and nothing. They discussed their past, not with regret, but with the understanding that they had both grown and changed in ways they never imagined. Sophie told him about her fears and how she'd almost let those fears push her away from the love they had built. Liam, in turn, opened up about his own struggles with their relationship, the times he felt disconnected but hadn't known how to reach out. They laughed, they shared, and at moments they simply held each other in silence, appreciating the quiet companionship they had. Later, they ventured out, grabbing a small breakfast in a local cafe, their hands still intertwined. The cafe was cozy, with the scent of fresh coffee and pastries filling the air. As they sat by the window, sipping their drinks, the world outside seemed distant. It felt like no one else existed in that moment, as if time had paused just for them. Liam's eyes softened as he looked at her. "You know," he began, his voice quieter now, "last night wasn't just about passion. It was about us, reconnecting in a way I didn't know we needed. I felt like I found you again. Not just the woman I fell in love with, but the woman I know you are underneath it all, vibrant, full of life, and unapologetically herself." Sophie's heart swelled at his words. She could feel the sincerity behind them, and for a moment she couldn't hold back the tears that welled up in her eyes. "I've been so scared," she admitted softly. "Scared that I lost myself and lost us along the way. But last night I felt like I found myself again, too." Liam reached across the table and cupped her hand in his thumb gently, brushing over her skin. "You never lost yourself, Sophie. You just need to find the courage to look inside and see that the spark is still there. We just need to keep lighting it together." As they walked back to the motel, hand in hand, Sophie knew deep in her heart that their relationship wasn't defined by any single moment. It wasn't about the highs or the lows, but about the steady and unwavering bond they had. It wasn't about recreating what was lost, but forging a new path, one full of passion, tenderness, and a deep understanding of each other. They spent the rest of the day together, talking, exploring, and simply enjoying the easy comfort of each other's presence. By the time they returned to the room, they were both quiet, content in a way that was more fulfilling than they had been in months. That evening, as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the room, they curled up on the bed together. Once again, they didn't need to speak. They didn't need to fill the silence with anything more than their shared presence. The connection between them felt deep, rooted in both love and mutual respect. "I don't think we've ever been this close," Sophie whispered, her head resting on Liam's chest. "Then let's stay this way," Liam murmured, pulling her closer. "No more distractions, just us, from here on out." And in that moment, as they drifted off to sleep, Sophie knew that this was just the beginning. They had found their way back to each other, not through dramatic gestures, but through simple moments of connection. They had rediscovered what it meant to be together, both physically and emotionally, and it was stronger than ever. In the days that followed, they made a promise to keep the flame alive, not by seeking external excitement, but by continuing to nurture what they had between them. They knew that passion, just like love, had to be built day by day, with patience, care, and above all, trust. Together, they would face whatever came next, knowing that they had rediscovered something truly precious, a bond that could weather any storm. And so, their journey continued together, stronger and more in love than ever before. As the days continued to unfold, Sophie and Liam felt the fire that had dimmed between them rekindle with each shared experience. Their connection deepened, not just through meaningful conversations, but also through moments of passionate love that had been missing for too long. One evening, after an unexpected storm swept through the city, they found themselves back at the motel, the rain pouring down outside. The soft, rhythmic sound of the rainfall against the window created a peaceful ambiance that made everything feel even more intimate. They had spent the evening laughing, talking about their favorite memories together, and reconnecting in ways that felt natural, like no time had passed. But now, in the quiet stillness, Sophie felt a longing she hadn't realized was their desire for something more. She looked at Liam, his eyes reflecting the warmth of the candlelight flickering in the room. Liam's gaze softened as he noticed her staring at him, and without a word he moved closer, his presence pulling her in. She could feel the heat radiating. Between them, the tension in the air thickening with every breath they took. Sophie felt an ache inside her, deep in her chest, and before she could stop herself, she reached out. Placing her hand gently on his cheek, Liam leaned into her touch, his eyes closing for a moment as he savored the feeling of her hand against his skin. When he opened his eyes again, the air between them shifted, becoming charged with an undeniable desire. "I've missed this," Sophie whispered, her voice trembling with longing. "I've missed us." Liam's hand slid to her waist, pulling her closer, his lips brushing against her forehead before gently pressing against her mouth in a soft, tentative kiss. Sophie sighed, her body responding to the touch, the kiss growing deeper, more urgent. The gentle caresses of their lips quickly escalated into something more intense, each kiss full of raw emotion, as though they were trying to make up for lost time. She tugged at his shirt, eager to feel the warmth of his skin against hers. He responded by pulling her even closer, his hands slipping beneath her shirt, sending a wave of desire flooding through her. The simplicity of the moment, the quiet, the intimacy, the rain outside, only made the connection between them feel more intense. They were no longer just two people in a relationship. They were a force, a magnetic pull that brought them together again, in a way that was more profound than anything they had shared before. As their kisses deepened, the room felt smaller, the air heavier with longing. Their bodies moved in sync, the passion between them building steadily as if they were rediscovering each other in the most tender, passionate way. They didn't rush. There was no urgency in their movements, only a slow, deliberate exploration of each other's touch and presence. Sophie gasped softly as Liam's lips traced a path down her neck, his kisses heated and full of intent. She closed her eyes, her body arching toward him, her hands tangled in his hair as she held him closer. The feel of him against her, the softness of his touch, ignited something inside her that she hadn't known was missing for so long. Liam's hands slid lower, his fingers gently teasing the waistband of her jeans before pulling her even closer, urging her to trust him, to surrender completely to the moment. There was no hesitation in Sophie. Her body ached for him, and the connection between them had never been clearer. She wanted this, needed this after everything that had come. Before, after the uncertainty and the hurt, this was them. This was their love. And in this moment, it was more powerful than anything. Sophie, Liam breathed, his voice hoarse with desire. You are everything to me. Her heart raced as she looked into his eyes, her own emotions mirroring the passion they had awakened. And you are to me, she whispered, pulling him into a kiss that felt like an affirmation of everything they had been through, everything they had yet to experience. The night unfolded in a way that neither of them had expected. The passion they shared was slow and intense, the culmination of everything they had rediscovered in their hearts. It wasn't just about the physical connection. It was about feeling seen, wanted, cherished. It was about reminding each other that love, real love, was built on moments of vulnerability, trust, and unwavering devotion. When the world finally fell silent and the rain outside had slowed to a gentle drizzle, Sophie lay in Liam's arms, her head resting on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. They were both exhausted, their bodies tangled in sheets, but there was no need for words. They didn't need to speak to know how much they had just shared. It was a feeling that transcended anything they had known before, something deeper, something lasting. I love you, Liam, Sophie whispered, her voice filled with a quiet certainty. Liam stroked her hair gently, his lips pressing a kiss to her forehead. I love you too, Sophie. More than you'll ever know. As they held each other through the night, the connection between them had transformed. It wasn't just about rekindling passion. It was about rediscovering the parts of themselves they had almost lost, about finding a love that had always been there, waiting patiently to be revived. In that motel with the rain falling gently outside, they had found each other again. Not just in the heat of desire, but in the deeper, quieter moments of love, trust, and devotion that would carry them forward stronger, more united and more in love than ever before. The journey they had been on had not been easy, but it had brought them back to where they truly belonged in each other's arms, fully connected and completely in love. As the morning light poured softly into the room, Sophie woke up first. She was nestled in Liam's arms, the warmth of his body against hers, the perfect contrast to the cool morning air. Her eyes fluttered open, and she couldn't help but smile. She felt a quiet peace she hadn't known in months, a peace that came from rediscovering not only each other, but also herself in the process. Liam was still asleep, his breathing steady, the soft rise and fall of his chest a comforting rhythm. Sophie traced her fingers gently across his skin, feeling the quiet connection between them. This was what she had been missing, not just passion, but a partnership rooted in love and trust. In his arms, she had found something real, something lasting. When he stirred, his eyes slowly opened to meet hers, and a sleepy smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Without a word, he kissed her softly, A kiss that was gentle and full of tenderness. It was the kind of kiss that spoke volumes, one that needed no explanation. They didn't need to say anything to know that they were exactly where they were meant to be. I think we've found something worth fighting for, Sophie whispered, her voice full of quiet certainty. Liam nodded, his eyes filled with love. We've always had it, Sophie. We just had to find our way back. The next few weeks were a quiet journey of rediscovery for both of them. Their relationship blossomed again, not through grand gestures or dramatic moments, but through small, meaningful actions. They took the time to talk, to laugh, to share their dreams and fears. Every touch, every kiss was a reminder of the love that had always been there waiting to be reignited. They started taking weekend trips together, rediscovering new places and old memories. They spent long evenings cooking dinner, laughing over mishaps and sharing quiet moments in each other's arms. And through it all, the bond between them deepened, rooted in understanding, patience, and unwavering support. One evening, as they sat on their porch, watching the sun set in the distance, Sophie turned to Liam. I never thought we'd get back to this, she said softly, her hand resting in his. Liam smiled, his grip tightening around hers. Sometimes we have to lose our way to find the right path again. But now that we've found it, there's nothing I want more than to keep walking it with you. Sophie looked at him, her heart full. I feel the same way. We're stronger than we were before. And as they sat there, surrounded by the quiet beauty of the evening, Sophie realized that love, in all its forms, was worth fighting for. The passion, the tenderness, the laughter, they were all part of the same journey. Together, they had rekindled something that was always there, something that had never truly gone away. Their love wasn't about perfection. It was about being there for each other, through the good and the bad, through every twist and turn. It was a love that had been tested, but had come through stronger than ever. As the night drew in, and the stars began to twinkle above them, Sophie and Liam sat quietly, knowing that their love would continue to grow, one small moment at a time. The future, with all its unknowns, was theirs to shape together. And in that moment, Sophie felt the quiet, powerful truth. They had found their way back to each other, and this time they would never let go.